Hello and welcome to a brand new episode, of Dylan Knows. This is delayed from last week, so before you before you sit down to watch the show, think about this. Let your mind drift back. The date is September 18th, 2021. That was a Saturday night. And that's where we're talking right now. So, not September 24th, which is what today is, a Friday. No, think of it as September 18th, because we will be talking about stuff from that week, from the 12th through the 18th. We'll be talking about stuff. Tomorrow, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, or at least Sunday at the latest, I will have a brand new episode of Dylan Knows covering the stuff that happened this week. But we're not here. We're September 18th. Remember, a Saturday night, September 18th. It was a big week. This week, the week of the 12th through the 18th, a lot of stuff happened, particularly an anniversary for myself. Football. Hawkeye. Fortnite new season, Norm McDonald, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Batman Day, Community Day, Grendel, What If, banning books, Bruce Campbell, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Pepsi Cola, Bryce Dallas Howard, and many more stuff. Well, it's not a lot of stuff, actually, because this week, the 12th through the 18th, was kind of light when it came to stuff that was coming out, so this should be a fairly quick episode. I think it was kind of quiet this upcoming week as well. We'll talk about that tomorrow or Sunday this weekend. So without further ado, let's get into the stuff. So again, think back. It is September 18th, 2021, a Saturday night. And here we go. This episode marks my 8th year in the business. September 15th, 2013 was when the first episode of Dylan Knows aired, I suppose, on YouTube. I was joined by Tony Solo, who was the sort of mastermind behind it, and Larissa, and we talked about ghosts and supernatural stuff and aliens and stuff like that. Back then, Dylan Knows was divided into 4 different shows. It was the ghost show, or I should say supernatural show. It was the comic show. I'm sorry, I'll do it in order. So it was the supernatural show. It was a top 10 show with Jerry Fletcher. It was supposedly supposed to be, my wife was supposed to have her own show. She only lasted about 3 episodes, and then I took over and made it Dylan Knows International, talking with Bronwyn from Canada. And then it was comics with MJ Khan. Those were my shows. And then gradually, Larissa and I, were pretty much repeating the same old stuff over and over again. So we decided to call it a day when it came to Supernatural. So I began the first of these sort of stream of consciousness sort of shows about what was happening that week. MJ Khan and I's comic show lasted till about, I guess, when Black Panther came out. I suppose that was 2017, 18, somewhere around there. Due to the fact that YouTube went away from the Hangouts and I was no longer allowed to have guests on anymore. Same with my top 10 show with Jerry Fletcher. We had issues again with YouTube not allowing people to come join me for the show. So that's when the show morphed into what it is now. I kind of wish I could get back to that kind of stuff. Maybe I do need to get into podcasting because there's some stuff I'd like to talk with other people about. But for now, I'm going to continue working on this show as best I can. I know I had a bit of a lapse this past summer, but it's been a long year already. But September 15th, 2013, 8 years of my show. So we'll see where we are 1 year from now. Should be interesting to see if I'm going to be working on my 9th. We'll be entertaining my 9th year, so we'll see what happens. The biggest news of this week was the Hawkeye trailer dropped on Monday, the 13th. And it was everything I hoped it would be. It's set at Christmas time. It sets up the storyline fairly good. You get to see a little bit of everything. You see the tracksuit mafia. You see Kate Bishop. You see the dog. You see the Christmas stuff. You see Hawkeye being Hawkeye. You see it where the story differs from Matt Fraction's story, but where it's also the same, and just looks outstanding. Again, for those who don't remember, the Hawkeye series will air the first episode on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which I believe is the 23rd. Let us find out. Thanksgiving 2021. I don't want to see NFL scores because we're not looking at those right now. Thanksgiving 2021 is the 25th. I'm sorry, is November 25th. Oh, so it's 2 months from the next Sunday. Or no, 2 weeks from next Saturday. It's the 18th, remember. So yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I watched it multiple times. I got other people involved with it, and everybody liked it as well. And I love the Christmas theme, and it's outstanding. And I'm very excited, and I want to see it. Also this week, I guess it was that Sunday, the 12th, was the Fortnite live event to end the Invasion chapter, which was chapter 7 of Fortnite, and it did not disappoint. The live event started at 4 o'clock on a Sunday, which was great because most times the Fortnite new season starts on a Tuesday, so the live event is usually that Monday. So either I'm at work or my kids are at school or whatever, but they decided they were going to do it on a Sunday, which is great because it was a fascinating live event. And as soon as it was over, it was only about maybe a half hour or so after that the live event was over. It set up the next season. Fortnite shut down for the whole rest of the day and into the early morning. So that Monday morning, I got up, I checked on Facebook and followed my Fortnite people, and they were showing me the new stuff, the new season. Chapter 2, Season 8 is called Cubed. Kevin the Cube from the first season is back, or first chapter, I should say, is back on the island. And there's multiple ones now. There's gold ones and blue ones and alien wreckage everywhere and new weaponry and sideways portals into these places that have these weird, bizarre zombie robot things coming after you. You've got some new weaponry and some new stuff happening, and it just started. New punch cards, new skins to go get, and it's all kinds of stuff. The secret skin for the season is Carnage, and that should be pretty good. And we have the unicorn cereal, Unicorn Flakes buff cereal mascot is also one, as is JB Chimpansky, a gorilla that went into outer space, and all kinds of cool stuff. So it looks really interesting. And you actually now, when you eat one of the little cubes, you turn into like the ghost type of thing. So it is kind of, they had been teasing that it was going to be like a Halloween sort of season, since the season goes until December 5th. So that goes through Fortnitemares, which is their Halloween event, and ends just before Christmas. So you'll have Christmas will be part of the chapter 9. Chapter 9. Chapter season 9 storyline. But should be interesting to see what they end up doing here. But it just started and looks pretty interesting. And as I said, you eat a cube and you turn into these little ghost things and you fly around for a little while. That's pretty cool. And there's definitely a definite horror vibe going on here. So we will see where that all leads to and goes to. Ravens opening day was a Monday Night Football event, which was the same day that Fortnite started. So that would be the 13th of September. They were playing the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas and it was on Monday Night Football because Vegas had opened the stadium last year and the Raiders moved there last year, but due to COVID, they had no fans. So this was the first time that real fans at a real game were able to go to a Monday night game at the new Las Vegas stadium. Needless to say, the Ravens looked like utter crap. The Raiders walked basically all over them and won in overtime. Was it 31-27? Something like that. 31-26, something like that. 32-26, something like that. I think it was 32-26, actually. They walked all over us. And we did not look good. We looked really bad. And we still scored 26 points, but still we looked pretty bad. And here's hoping that next week's game against the Chiefs on Sunday night is going to be better, but I highly doubt it. Remember, this is the 18th. We'll tell you what happened this weekend's episode. It was good, needless to say. So yeah. Community Day for Pokemon Go is tomorrow, Sunday the 19th. Remember, we're on the 18th. So we have Oshawott. So look forward to doing that. Today was Batman Day. Sorry, my wife is texting me. So, it was Batman Day today, Saturday the 18th of September. I didn't really get into it that much just because it was a depressing week with the Ravens, and I was more interested in the Fortnite stuff and some other stuff that happened this week, which we'll talk to you about in 1 second. So I wasn't really into or that excited for this Batman Day. So, and then anyway, the free Batman comics, I think, were not like the free comic book day ones. You actually had to buy something in order to get them. And to be honest, I'm getting a little bit out of comics, so it's not a big thing for me anymore. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, I should say. Wednesday, the 15th of September. We got a phone call at about 10 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday from my son's school saying that my son was in close contact with a child who had tested positive for COVID. Now, they had been wearing masks. My son had gotten one shot, and on that day was supposed to get his second shot, ironically. So the rules is that if you're in close contact with someone, if you are vaccinated or not, doesn't matter. You have to leave the school and wait to get a negative COVID test. And the earliest we could do that would be on Sunday, the 19th. Was the earliest we'd be able to get a COVID test. So my wife went and got my son from school, got the information. Now, he wasn't the only one that had to be removed. There's about 15 other students who got removed in close contact with this child who had COVID. So my son spent the rest of half of that day on the Wednesday, the 15th, with my wife working on his school stuff online. Luckily, that Thursday, both kids were off for Yom Kippur, so he wasn't missing that day of school, and then he was just going to miss a full day on Friday. So my wife was able to set up a COVID test for us on Sunday, the 19th. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, this has happened last week. We are remembering that this was 9/18, but I'll tell you this much. All four of us were negative. Everything's good. Noah's back at school, but that's besides the point. We'll talk about that next week, this weekend coming up. And so we'll see what happens with that. Also this week, one of my new favorite shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, has called it a day. They did their last episode. Excuse me. They did their last episode on Thursday, and we watched it on Friday, and it was just as I was hoping for. It was a spectacular finale. It was one of the shows that did not have a bad series finale. It actually was an absolutely brilliant one. Loved it immensely. Missed the show so much already. And someday I want to do a podcast of going over and reviewing every single episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's one of my dream podcasts, that one. And the other one is a Marvel one, which I'll talk about that right now. The What If review. The most recent episode of What If was the zombie episode. Right? Yeah. Where we get the Marvel Zombies thing. When What If was first announced, this was the main draw to get people to come interested to see it, was Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies was a huge comic hit back, I'd like to say probably in 2010, 2011, when Walking Dead first came out during zombie hysteria. So probably 2011, probably. And it was the first time Marvel Zombies came out. And it was a huge success. And everybody likes the Marvel Zombies. So they did a what if of that. And it was impressive. You got Paul Rudd and I forget the woman who plays the Wasp. They did their voices. You got Benedict Cumberbatch back as Doctor Strange. You've got Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk also coming in and voicing that as well. And, Sebastian Stan as Bucky, or I should say the Winter Soldier was in there as well. So you got some good stuff. And Spider-Man, not voiced by Todd Holland, was the main character of this. But it was an entertaining episode. What If to me has still been kind of flat. I mean, they're fun shows, but they're not ones that I'm dying like I have to watch the show. Not like Hawkeye's going to be, obviously, but I was just like, it was good at least. And next week's looks like it's going to be a Thor-centric one. By the way, we haven't watched it yet, so don't tell us anything yet. So, that's what is going on with that. The political big news of this week was the California recall vote that was set up by a Republican to try to get Republicans back in power into California, the governorship, by proclaiming that the California Democratic governor has botched the mask mandate and vaccinations and stuff like that because, the Republican person doesn't want all that to happen. The fact that they did that and had all that happen is, that's besides the point. But regardless, so it was, a big story for a while, but it doesn't matter because the recall failed. The Democrats have taken control of California, kept control of California, and we're moving on from that. We should get the results of the Arizona voting audit sometime next week. We did. It's actually really funny. We'll talk about it in tomorrow's show as well. This weekend show as well. So that's pretty good. Locally, this weekend was also kind of big. Our branch of the Baltimore County Public Library, which is in one of the historic buildings here in historic Reisterstown, has been shut down now for about a year and a half as it was undergoing renovations. Well, they opened this past Tuesday. Haven't been in it yet, but it is open and up for business now. I'm hoping to maybe get there maybe next weekend, possibly. I'm planning on trying to get there this weekend, which is, as I said, we're thinking this the 18th. It's actually the 24th, but we'll keep on moving. So we'll see what happens. With that, plus the Woodland Trail that goes behind the library and the elementary school has also been refurbished, and that reopened today, actually. So that's kind of cool. So we got that going on. I haven't been on that yet. I don't know if I'm planning on going on that, but possibly maybe when I go to the library, I'll hit that as well. It's very possible. The the Orioles have had a season to forget, but something big that's coming up is Ryan Mountcastle is making a case to being a Rookie of the Year candidate, as he just broke Cal Ripken's rookie record for home runs by hitting his 29th home run this week. He's already surpassed that he's up to about 31, 32 right now, but that's, again, something we'll talk about later. So we got that going on. Samuel Adams is making space beer, literally, from hops that was sent up in one of the spaceships and was hanging out in the space station up there, and now come back down. They're going to actually now make beer out of it, so we'll see how that is, if zero gravity has affected in any way. Now, speaking of Hawkeye and Jeremy Renner, we saw him in there, and remember one of his early appearances as Hawkeye was in Avengers Age of Ultron, which was the first full appearance of Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda from Scarlet Witch, and the two of them bonded over that, and then the two of them had that bond again in Civil War as he freed her from Vision. Well, now Jeremy Renner is reteaming with Elizabeth Olsen again, but not in a Marvel MCU movie. Instead, they're doing a movie called Wind River, which is going to be on Netflix, which I think I'm going to check out. I think it's next month or November or something like that. I'm going to check it out. The trailer dropped for that. It looks very entertaining. It's very similar to me, like Thunderheart, which was a great underrated movie starring Val Kilmer, Sam Shepard, Graham Greene, and a few other people I can't think of right now. But basically, Elizabeth Olsen is I think, an FBI agent, a fresh FBI agent who comes to a Indian reservation and is investigating a crime with the help of Jeremy Renner's, I guess, seen it all sort of journeyman guy who hangs out with the Native Americans. So it looks good. I will maybe, hopefully, October 15th will be the next camping trip. Now, they're supposed to, my wife and kids were supposed to be camping this weekend. The 5th, remember, this is the 18th and 19th again. They were supposed to be camping this weekend, but due to Novid's COVID thing, they just canceled the whole camping trip in general. So next time they're going camping is October 15th. So hopefully by that time, maybe this will be out. If not, we still got Thanksgiving and some other stuff rolling through here. So I'll make some time for it to watch it sometime, because I do kind of want to see it. It looks pretty good. Speaking of Netflix, I'm actually very surprised about this. This came out of nowhere because I hadn't heard a single thing about it, and usually I hear something about it, but I didn't hear anything about this. Netflix has ordered a Grendel TV series. Now, Grendel is one of these creator-owned comic books that's actually done pretty well. Very good art style by Matt Wagner, who's the creator of it. They've signed the dotted line, and it is coming to series, and it's going to star Abubakar Ali, which I think is pretty good casting in general. So we will take a look at that. Sad news, big sad news. Let me see. I don't think there's any other deaths, but that I got a hold of here. If it is, but this one is a big one. The big death that happened this week was Norm MacDonald, former SNL actor, did Weekend Update for a long time, but got in trouble when he was making fun of the O.J. Simpson trial. Has done some voiceover work. He was in, the last work I remember him doing was in my absolute new favorite Christmas movie of all time on Netflix, Klaus, the cartoon. He plays the voice of the snarky boatman, and it's a brilliant performance. But he passed away at the age of 61. Due to a 10-year battle with cancer. So he has been battling cancer now for about 10 years, and it finally overtook him. So rest in peace, Norm MacDonald. A little bit closer to home, a school board in York, Pennsylvania, which is about maybe 40 minutes from here, has banned Brad Metzler's and Chris Eliophilis's I Am Rosa Parks book, and also the I Am Martin Luther King book, as well as a few other black African American stories as well. But luckily, Brad Metzler was contacted about this by someone who is setting up a way to fight against it. So Metzler has been sending them a bunch of copies of this book. They've been putting them in the free libraries that see all around York, Pennsylvania, and have been pushing for change to that. So we'll see what happens. P.S. By the way, everything is okay now. The books are no longer banned. They're back on the shelves in the York, PA school system. Still kind of annoying, but that was this week. So we'll cover that maybe tomorrow. So we got that. And Let's Be Stupid, Nicki Minaj, who I can't stand anyway, just continues to show how stupid people are by saying that the vaccine causes swollen balls in males so bad that a friend of hers who got the vaccine, then got these swollen balls and some other disease-esque sort of things, had to cancel his wedding because it was so bad. The symptoms that this person showed is that of a venereal disease, actually a sexually transmitted disease that he got by having an affair with someone else that he wasn't supposed to. But Nicki Minaj, being Nicki Minaj, blamed it on the vaccine instead of him, cheating on his fiance and getting an STD. So, moron of the week goes to Nicki Minaj, who I can't stand anyway. Good side. Now, some good news. Missing boy found wandering in the St. Louis street with his protective stray pit bull dog. So the pit bull made sure that he was safe till help was found. Good for him. A goat and a rooster rushed to the aid of their chicken friend who's being attacked by a hawk, an actual videotape from a farm. So that's a good one to see as well. Whales used to walk on land back in the prehistoric times. Fossils have been discovered of a whale-like creature being able to walk on land. So that's kind of scary. Gas Station Simulator is now one of the top 5 best-selling computer games now, where you simulate owning a gas station. That's all I had to say about that. IDW joins Marvel to stick it to Diamond Comics again and is now going to have Penguin Books distribute them as well. So Diamond, which I used to work for, and I have no ill will or animosity toward, seems to be going in the opposite direction after losing DC, Marvel, and now IDW. Not good. So we'll see what happens. Now, the thing is, though, with the Marvel thing, Diamond became one of the biggest customers of Penguin Books to get the Marvel stuff, so they can buy the stuff from Penguin Books, and then they can distribute to the accounts that already have an account. No word yet if IDW will be allowing the same thing as well. If it does, Diamond, again, will be one of IDW's biggest clients when it comes to buying stuff. So in the end, while Diamond will not be handling the distribution of it, they will be one of the more powerful consumers of Penguin Books, giving them some money. So maybe Penguin Books might, give them a shot. So we'll see. I talked about this a little bit when Marvel announced it. Penguin Books doesn't need to do this. They are already stacked. They're making tons of money. They just want to try something different. And if it doesn't go well for them or they start losing money, they will have no problem dropping both of these now, and I have no doubt that if Diamond can stick around for a while, they can scoop them back up and bring them back into the fold. So I hope so, because I have no ill will towards Diamond. I know a lot of people do, but I don't, and I hope that they get back on their feet soon. Boom Studios, which is still with Diamond and probably still will be for a while, because Philip Sablik, who is a guy I used to work with and still has a lot of good friends and memories at Diamond, is one of the big wigs at Boom Studios. So we'll see what happens. But they got the license to Buffy the Vampire Slayer a long time ago, and they've been releasing comics of both Buffy and Angel and Spike and all kinds of stuff and all kinds of other things as well. And I think they also got the Firefly license as well. But the Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer comic will be coming from Boom Studios, showing a middle-aged Buffy the Vampire Slayer being the last of her kind when the vampire slayers have been wiped out. And the whole thing will be a post-apocalyptic sort of story where she discovers that there is actually one girl who is showing signs of being the next Slayer, and that the slaying signs the Slayer lines might be coming back. So it sounds like an interesting comic, and we'll check it out there. One of Arnold Schwarzenegger's less than stellar movies was Eraser. I saw that movie with Vanessa Williams, not the singer, but the actress. It was okay. It was a generic Schwarzenegger thing. Well, a reboot was secretly done without Schwarzenegger and is now out on Amazon or Hulu or whatever without Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. So kind of snuck up on people, didn't know that was happening either. Bruce Campbell is starring in a film called Black Friday, which details the story of a shop owner or manager losing his mind a little bit during the Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving storyline. So, holiday shopping season. So kind of an interesting premise and another added holiday-esque movie you could watch around that time again. So we'll see what happens. Brendan Fraser, who's been getting a lot of love lately, is now finally getting more love business-wise. Him and Tom Welling, he of the former Smallville, have teamed up to star in the CW's new action show, The Professionals, probably coming out next fall. So that'll be an excellent thing. And you get Brendan Fraser and Tom Welling back on mainstream TV. Should be interesting to see that. The live action Little Mermaid. I've never been a big fan of Little Mermaid, but Disney's been making live action versions of all their animated films. So why not a live action Little Mermaid? Is now ready to be released in May of 2023. So not next year, the year after. I guess they're still worried about COVID stuff. That could obviously still change because they've been filming it for a while. I would assume that they are going to be done, that they might be done filming it very shortly, and then they probably could release it in May of 2022 if they so wanted to, or hell, they could even move it to November of 2022, but they just want to play it safe right now due to COVID stuff. So we'll see. We've got Venom II coming out October 1st in movie theaters only. So we'll see how that does. As I said last week, Shang-Chi did really well. So it's continuing to do pretty well in its second week. Now third week, it's still doing well. So we'll see what happens with that. The 35th anniversary of the novel, It, came out September 16th, 1986. I remember reading the novel, which is over 1,000 pages long, on a vacation where I think it was when we flew out to, I was reading it along simultaneously or right after I read The Stand. I think I finished The Stand and then I did this one. I think it was the Stand was the Seattle, Vancouver, San Francisco, and It was, I think, the Denver, Yellowstone, Grand Teton, back to Denver thing. I think that's what it was. So I've read them both over 1,000 pages long, and it's one of his better books. Some pretty good adaptations of it have been done. I'm still partial to the TV version because I really enjoyed it. The ending is still whack a doodle, but what are you going to do? Speaking of Halloween and scary stuff, a man is roaming around a beach. Galveston, that's right, Galveston, Texas. A Galveston, Texas beach as Michael Myers from the Halloween movies. So dude's dressed up as Michael Myers, including the mask, and just walking around the beach in Galveston, Texas. No idea why, don't know what's going on with that, but okay. LED Halloween masks is the new trend where you get a Halloween mask, like a skull or something, or ghost face, and it's lit up with LED lights. So that could be something that you'll see trending probably this year, this Halloween. Also this Halloween, Beetlejuice finally gets his own inflatable. I kind of want it. It's the scene with him sitting on a tombstone that says, "Here lies Beetlejuice," just before he goes, "It's showtime." So we'll see about that. The teaser for Amazon's I Know What You Did Last Summer show is out as well. And looks like another generic sort of slasher horror thing similar to the Scream TV show that MTV did a while back. So I'm not really interested in it, but we will see what happens. Hilary Swank, who we haven't heard from in a while, Oscar winner Hilary Swank, I should say, will be starring in a new show about an Alaskan newspaper. And actually, that's got me a little intrigued because I like Alaska stuff, and newspaper shows have always been intriguing to me. So it might be a worthwhile TV show to check out. Now that Brooklyn Nine-Nine's over, it might be one to check out. Again, probably won't be out till next year, but it's been announced, and they're probably working on episodes, the pilot, whatever, and probably they'll make shows. So it'll either be mid-season replacement next year, in the March-April zone, or they might wait till summer, which is also a possibility because that's when they release Northern Exposure, or they will wait till next fall. So we'll see what happens. Knives Out 2 has finally finished filming. Netflix has spent $300 million for Knives Out 2 and 3. So Knives Out 2, directed by Rian Johnson, is now complete. He'll be editing it, fixing it all up for release again, probably sometime next year. And eventually we'll probably start working on Knives Out 3 soon afterwards, after maybe they release Knives Out 2 to see how good it does through Netflix or Amazon, I forget what it is. One of my favorite movies from the 90s is the movie Dave. It stars Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver. They had a great chemistry. It's a great American fable. And one of my favorite movies, I remember that and Arachnophobia came out in the same year, and I watched them multiple times at movie theaters. It was the movie theater up the street from my house that at the time only had 2 theaters, and they had Arachnophobia and Dave in there. So I watched it multiple times. Helped my friend Brian work there. He could get me in for free on some of these movies. So kind of cool about that. So that was fun. But Sigourney Weaver and Kevin Kline are now reteaming for a movie called The Good House. And it's one of these, I think, middle-aged, older couple sort of things. Looks fairly interesting as well. Rick Ross, I guess he's a musician or basketball player or something, gifts his own wing shop to his son Brendan for his 16th birthday. So Rick Ross bought a wing shop and gave it to his 16-year-old son to run it. Why not? It's pretty cool. Netflix again. They have a Tomb Raider anime coming out, and they finally have cast Lara Croft, and it is someone you should be familiar with, an actress by the name of Haley Atwell, who plays, I would say, it's not Sharon Carter. It's the other Carter. I keep forgetting what her name is. Why do I always forget her name? Haley Atwell. Peggy Carter. I keep forgetting Peggy because Sharon is so over, but will be voicing Lara Croft. So in the anime, so that's kind of a pretty good, I think. A 2,000-year-old sewer system was found in Turkey, which predates Roman age stuff. So sewage stuff was a big thing back in the 2,000 years ago. The TV show Cops is returning to Fox News Network as a streaming series. I can just imagine what that show is going to be like being on Fox News. Yeah. Scientists create a lifelike material that has something and can self-replicate. So that's interesting. WandaVision wins its first Emmys for some minor stuff, but it did win a couple Emmys from Marvel, and The Mandalorian won a bunch of Emmys as well. Again, smaller, lesser Emmys, not the big ones. That's next week. Yes, neither of them won anything big. So that's kind of good. Talked about the Ravens' crappy home opener. Not home opener, a crappy season opener last Monday against the Raiders. Well, the Washington football team had their season opening game on Sunday, and it got very crappy for one fan who got sprayed with poop water after a sewage pipe broke and fell on him. So, ew. This is good news for our climate change sort of stuff. A Hurricane Larry, which stayed out to sea, so it wasn't a big deal for us, made its way up the Atlantic Ocean, kept its power going straight, was like a category 4, something like that, just kept rolling up the Atlantic, getting through the colder water, so it weakened a little bit once it got to colder water. But once it got to colder water, holy cow, there is a landmass there. It's called Greenland. And it's cold up there now because it's the North Pole, basically. And this hurricane turned into a massive snowfall, which dropped a good 2 to 4 feet of snow pack onto Greenland. Greenland, which had been losing a lot of their snowpack due to the climate change that's been going on. This is good because that increases the snow totals, the snowpack on Greenland, and the cold is going to keep it frozen there for a while. And hopefully, because of the coldness of the snow being there, it's going to create more cold weather and more snow, which is going to drop more snow on Greenland, which in the end is going to make it colder up there. And the cold from there is going to spread to where it needs to go, the Arctic over here, Iceland over here, and the Norwegian, lands over here. It's going to spread out there and maybe make this be a pretty normal winter, because this is the actual proof of climate change, is that the massive cold air that used to be a part of the North Pole and the Arctic and all of that has been seeping into the United States over the last 4 or 5 years due to the fact that it's weakening and it's moving down there. So we've had the brutal 0 degree, negative degree weathers during winters a few times over the last few years. This snowpack in Greenland very well could possibly keep that cold air over the Arctic and help refurbish the Arctic by making it snow a little bit more and be colder up there so that it gets their snowpack back as well. So that's to be continued. So we should have an interesting winter to see what happens, maybe a more normal winter about what we should be getting instead of what we have been getting. So we will take a look at that and see for sure. Lock and Key Season 2 trailer was released this week as well. Speaking of IDW, so it's Season 2 is coming back with that, so good on that as well. Gwendolyn Christie has been cast in the Tim Burton Addams Family spinoff Wednesday as a character I don't know, but having her in that Addams Family show is sounding better and better all the time. The new Predator movie has finished filming. It is going to be set during the Predator's first ever visit to Earth, so we'll see how that is going to come about. There is also a horror movie called There's Someone in Your House about a serial killer that wears a mask of the person they're getting ready to kill. So basically, if they're going to come kill you, they make a mask of your face, they put it on, and then they kill you as you. Looks pretty scary. Looks more scary, I should say, than the I Know What You Did Last Summer show. That's on Netflix, probably dropping sometime in October, just in time for Halloween. So check that out as well. Bryce Dallas Howard, who is best known as an actress, has actually been quietly creating a very impressive directing run. She's been directing episodes of The Mandalorian and has been doing an outstanding job, to be honest. I honestly, it just looks like she got some of her dad's directing genes and is doing a pretty damn good job when it comes to short form shows. She's coming back to direct an episode of the Boba Fett show that'll be coming out in December. So she's continuing that, but she is now, because of that impressive resume she's starting to build now, Disney Plus has decided, you know what? We're going to let you try something else here. We're going to let you try directing a film, but we're not going to release it to the movie theaters. It's going to be a film direct only to Disney Plus, which is something that they've been doing anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And it's a new wave of the future anyway. So, maybe a limited release down the line if it does really well. But right now, they have signed Bryce Dallas Howard to direct a remake of the Disney film Flight of the Navigator, which is sort of like a Last Starfighter sort of film from the 80s about a kid who learns how to pilot a UFO or something like that. So I'm actually intrigued to see that, because I really have been very impressed with Bryce Dallas Howard's directing ability, and very intriguing to see what she can do with a full-length film. Flight of the Navigator remake will probably be coming out sometime again next year, maybe in time for the holidays. She's just been put in there. They obviously must have a script ready. She's got to go through the casting. She's got to get the production schedule set up, and she's got to film it and edit it, then release it. So I would say probably maybe sometime this time, maybe next year, we'll be hearing it a little bit more about this Flight of the Navigator movie. But I am very happy for Bryce Dallas Howard. I know she's probably something that she wants to do. And now she's going to be able to have the chance to see if she can actually do a long form film, just like her father, Ron Howard. So pretty good in that. Now, the final story for this week's episode of Dylan Knows, remember the 18th of September, is Pepsi Cola is releasing a new Soda Shop series of soda. The first two flavors being cream soda and black cherry cola, to simulate the old school soda jerk flavors. Pepsi is going to release these flavors sort of like the old school soda jerk ones. And actually, that is intriguing to me as well. So I can't wait to try those. Don't know when they're due out, but hopefully sooner than later. All right, y'all, that was September 18th for you. All the news that's new and approved by the U.S. Army, the sweetest smelling army in the world. Join me next week, or in this case, either tomorrow or Sunday, for a new episode of Dylan Knows. Thank you for watching for 8 years, and hopefully we can do it for 8 more. All right, y'all, thanks a lot, and I will see you soon.